In 2020, a Category 4 hurricane named Laura ripped through Cameron and Calcasieu Parish, causing catastrophic damage to the area. 6 weeks later, Hurricane Delta made landfall, not but 15 miles from Laura's ground zero. This was a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, but hurricanes like these two have been battering Louisiana's coastline for the last century. In this episode, we're meeting up with two men that are working to find a solution to support the Louisiana coastline, as it will inevitably continue to battle for its life. So we left the Klondike Gaydon area and went almost to the Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge, where we'll be meeting Brent Hayes from the CPRA and also Scooter. I'm not sure Scooter's last name, but he manages the Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge, and going to go on a little airboat marsh tour, get a breakdown of some coastal habitats and what Louisiana is doing to preserve these habitats for all species of waterfowl and migratory birds.
Guys,
Tell me somebody's Scooter and somebody's Bren.
no. That's Scooter.
Scooter, John Paul.
I'm Brent.
Bren, man, nice to meet you. How you doing?
So you got a restaurant up in New York or no?
No,
I
ran some restaurants in
Yeah,
New York,
okay.
and I lived there for. Oh no!
Adjusted.
Do you realize what's about to happen here?
What's that?
Look at this life jacket.
Huh?
What's about to happen?
No good.
Chef has a little trouble with
I have a little trouble with these life jackets, getting them on.
These.
We can
I
help you
always
out,
put them
man.
in the wrong.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, they're
This?
you got it.
There you go.
Or
got
because
it.
you handed it to me.
You're
that
on.
way.
Your money, man.
It only happened because Scooter helped. Yeah, dude. Like
they're not-
if you watch the first series, there was this one episode where I just got ragged on for a good 30 seconds because I couldn't get this thing on.
For the
I kept
live
going
vest.
backwards or the opposite way. You know, I'm used to the old school like full body vest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, shall we hit the
Take a
road?
ride?
Get some Cajun AC. This area of Louisiana is rich with waterfowl species, and migratory birds rely on this refuge as a much-needed safe haven from certain pressures such as waterfowl hunters. In addition to providing habitat and resting grounds for migrating waterfowl, these wetlands help protect millions of people along the Gulf Coast from the full impact of hurricanes. As these storms make landfall, wetlands, like this one, act as a sponge, absorbing excessive rainfall and storm surge.
Damn, they jumped. They were thick in there.
I know a lot of waterfowlers that would say, well, we know where all the ducks are in Louisiana. So this is the gap between
This is
Open
the
water,
transition, right?
and then where people live, right?
Yeah,
And
this
so
is it.
this is the sponge. This is the
This is the first line of defense that we talk about so much. So there, here in the southwestern portion of the state, there are no levees like there are around the greater New Orleans area or Homa, the Bayou region. But here, what you have is literally tens of miles of coastal wetlands and some of the natural ridges that you see, the cheniers, and that's the speed bump, the sponge, if you will, that absorbs those storm surges and keeps areas north of us, more protected than it would be otherwise, obviously.
And this is the only known factual way to decrease the energy of these storms is having land versus water. And so the more areas that can be restored, the more areas that can be protected and stop that erosion process, the better off people are to the north are going to be.
Right now, we're losing coastal wetlands at about 15 square miles a year. If you think about the time we've been together today, we've lost, probably about a football field and a half of our coastal wetlands.
I remember my Louisiana history teacher talking about that when I was in high school in 9th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible to think I'm now so many years after, it's like that stat. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to process what it looked like when I was in high school from time now when you put it in perspective like that.
Let's get out of these mosquitoes. We'll run. Hopefully they're not this bad on the beach.
The beach is where the conflict begins between water and land. So that's where we're headed.
Lord, the water is rising.
I'ma talk about the water cause I got wet.
Oh, Lord, the water is rising.
Some floating in that water, the shit was a mess.
Lord, the water is rising.
Vivid memories stuck in my head.
Oh, Lord, the water is rising.
Straight down North Key, saw a lot of people dead.
Oh, Lord, the water is rising.
Gotta walk through that water, check my mama house.
Oh, Lord, the water is rising.
The beach we're headed to is an example of where the CPRA has been successful at reversing coastal erosion. These rock barriers reduce wind and wave erosion, allowing the beaches and natural grasses to grow again.
Yeah, we got a little wave.
That's all right.
Trying to get these life vests to inflate, man.
Cool me off a little bit.
And so here's this is an area right here where we're standing that was losing, hundreds of feet of shoreline every year. And now it's reversed, right? It's starting to build back out toward the shoreline protection features that we built there. And instead of moving that further out, what we'd like to do is keep heading west with it, right? So we've got from this point, it's about 6.5 miles that way worth of these breakwaters. We're seeking funds to continue that and keep building that further to the west.
If you look right here, see the sand that's built up behind the rocks? Okay, by next summer, this will probably all be silted in.
You can see this silt, right? I mean,
Yeah.
washing up
Look.
on the beach. Like that's,
Come step over here, you'll see it.
I'm gonna keep mine on, so I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to get it back on.
So you see, it's real light. It's just
Yeah.
shell fragments, it's not sand.
Right.
And so the wind blows it. Without the rocks, you would actually see this stuff just scour out further north, and it'll just cover this vegetation completely, suffocate it, and you'll have the erosion take place.
One of the biggest issues facing coastal Louisiana is a lack of sediment input. Since our CPRA's inception in about 2007, we dredged about 164 million cubic yards of sediment. So what does that mean? That's 35,000 superdomes. So that's enough sediment to fill about 35,000, a little more than 35,000 superdomes to rebuild our barrier islands, barrier shorelines, and our marshes and ridges all along our coast. So putting that sediment back into the system is key. And one of the best ways we can do that is we've got the Mississippi River here in Louisiana. It carries literally tons of sediment every day. We've leveed that river. We've isolated the river from its coastal wetlands that it once built and nourished. So reconnecting that river with our coast and using the power of the river to deliver that sediment for us is a key to our plans in coastal Louisiana.
I feel like there's been a lot of doom and gloom over the last 10, 20 years about what's been going on here in Louisiana. Just being here today really helps me understand what is being done, what can be done, what should continue to be done to help this coastline, to restore this coastline, to sustain this coastline.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good meeting you, man.
I hope this isn't the last time that we cross paths and that
Where y'all hunting at tomorrow?
It's easy to see when roads get redone or bridges get built, but the work that happens in these wetlands go mostly unseen from the public eye. My hope that this episode, that this show, is enough to show everyone watching that Louisiana's coastline is worth fighting for. On the road with the refuge in the rear view, we set our sights northeast toward the Royal Jug and Gun Club to meet up with Kirk Reinhardt. Kirk works in coastal engineering and knows that without the work being done by the CPRA, that his camp may not be around to pass down to future generations.
Well, I can't lose with the stuff I use, baby. Well, I can't lose with the stuff I use, baby. keep on trying, maybe I'll be rich someday. Well, I can't lose with the stuff I use, baby. Well, I can't lose with the stuff I use, baby. If I keep on trying, maybe I'll be rich someday. There's a whole lot of people who like to see me down. There's a whole lot of people who like to see me down. If I keep on trying,
Kurt, jump on, man. Nice to meet you. How you doing? Doing well.
It's all hands on deck here with young and old pitching in on the camp responsibilities. There's no doubt that these young men will be continuing these traditions, and it's nice to see this new generation's willingness to learn and discover the value of being self-sufficient.
This is my kind of camp when everybody cooks.
So we're making shrimp spiders. If you look at a head-on shrimp, it's the leg meat that comes out from under the head. No guts in it. It's all just white meat and crispy little shell parts.
Fried shrimp spiders might seem like something you've seen from old episodes of Fear Factor. But listen to me, there's more to these golden lanky legs than just a funny name. And Garrett, Kirk's son, is going to show us that we've been eating the wrong part of the shrimp.
Just soak them in a little bit of ice water with some hot sauce and a little bit of salt. Hit them in some flour. Shake them up, get them nice and coated. Get the grease about as high as you can take it. And let it rip. And that's it. Leave them in there until they turn golden crispy. You got yourself a shrimp spider.
We need to be frying more shrimp legs as a country, as a nation.
All right, guys, we're going to say grace. Hats off. Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for blessing us with the opportunities of hunting, fishing, cooking, and enjoying the beautiful lands of South Louisiana. Please help us to work hard to preserve them and pass them down to our next generations. Bless the cooks and bless us on our journey ahead. Amen.
Amen. Being in South Louisiana, it's only fitting that crawfish étouffée is our last meal. And man, this crawfish étouffée is not one that's been cooked for hours and hours and obliterated all the flavors. It's fresh, it's vibrant, it's tasty, it's exactly what I need the night before a big goose hunt.
After we give thanks, we pack our plates, have one last laugh, and hit the sack before a spec hunt in the morning. This morning, we're hunting a grit pile that has been managed on this property for decades. Grit piles can make for a hot flight, but you have to be careful not to overhunt the field. So the goal is to get in, shoot what we can, but don't overstay our welcome.
You hunting in your slippers, Dad?
We don't live in a rocky area.
Yeah.
There's no grit, so by artificially putting it out, you know, they put 18-wheeler loads of grit, and by the end of the season, it's gone. So when we say a grit pile, there's not an actual pile. Right. You're just gonna walk out, and it's a low spot, and it's just really sandy and gritty.
And these geese need that grit for the digestion, right? They're eating all these little seeds and little plant life and so on and so forth, but they need the grit to get in that gizzard, digest it all.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's why when you clean gizzards, you ruin your knife if you cut through the grinding plates because it's full of grit.
Yeah.
But they have to have it, and they find a good source of it.
And they want it.
And they want it.
If you go out in this field, they've been adding grit to this particular spot for God knows how long. And if you go out there, it's like you're walking on a beach. I don't even think they put a truckload in this year. But if you go feel the ground out there, it's pebbles, it's little soil, it's little sandy bits. those geese just eat it up. They love it. And obviously this field's got green grass for them to eat too. So they've got dinner and a show. They got the whole buffet set out for them. So hopefully with this south wind, we'll smack some this morning.
Well, it's a natural. All right, so we moved on from the gate on Klondike area. Now we're in the Kaplan area. Not too far, actually, as the crow flies, but a world away when it comes to a hunting situation. Grit pile, hard ground, green grass, little puddle, small decoy spread, still in a pit blind, but this is gonna be totally different than what we've done the last couple days. Man, I'm pumped for it. I've never hunted a grit pile. This should be exciting with this good south wind and no fog.
Out here where we're hunting, where the blinds are spread out and we're on the grit, we don't call as aggressively. They want to be here. And a lot of times when you're just chatting, you'll hear noise and they're here already. So calling is great, but I think most people overcall. You know, we'll be minimalist and let them do their thing.
You listen to specklebelly. I mean, it's got all kind of noises it's throwing at you. For you to try to mimic that is almost impossible, right? Like,
it's a lot.
You're just doing the best you can to mimic what they want to hear.
The best thing that you can do, if you can do it, is just to mimic what that, just talk to him. So if he yodels, you yodel right back. If he clucks at you, you give him just a little cluck. You just talk to him, make him feel comfortable. And if you can do that, you don't have to do all the fancy stuff to kill a bird. If you can just blow one of these over and over again, it's killed more specks than any double cluck, any ground buzz, world champion call ever will.
Let's get down.
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of them.
Let's just let them do their thing, guys.
They're swinging around from our left. Oh yeah.
They set.
Oh yeah, they're right there. Yeah,
These are set.
Yeah, these are on, yeah. Oh, those two shooters right there.
Let's see what this big group does.
A little bit high. We gotta let this work.
Getting a little bit tighter.
Yeah, they're a little high.
They're gonna do it. Just need to swing it. Quiet, Libby.
Libby knows what's up.
She's excited, just like us.
Where are they, G?
To the right. They're low. If they swing over and set up, then business.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on, just pass.
Oh shit, no, don't shoot.
Oh, 10 more.
Just didn't want to do it. We almost had a dozen in the grave.
Oh, that was so
close. We don't like to shoot those big groups that are on the edge like that, because let's say you scratch down one or two. We've now educated 20 birds on the grit pile.
Our first group of geese were looking tasty, but they spotted something they didn't like. Specklebelly geese are some of the more cautious species of waterfowl, and distant gunshots didn't help our cause. Even though we aren't on the board yet, it's early, and the geese are starting to move off their roost.
Already seeing more this morning than we've seen like the last 2 days, so it's a good sign.
So a lot of the ducks will feed in the rice field and the ag, and then you see them up high in the morning coming in and flying out to the Gulf, to the marsh, to the refuges that they have. So you see those big groups coming in like that, and they've been feeding all night, full of rice. Less and less rice is getting farmed each year, more sugar cane in the area. Seems to have hurt the ducks more than the geese. Behind you.
Just bring all the brush away.
Yep, they're set. Come on down. All right, they're gonna do it this time. We're gonna have to shoot them out front. They're not coming over.
Please, let's shoot these geese in the face.
I don't see him.
Y'all kill him.
That ain't supposed to happen.
You jammed? You only shot once?
Only shot once.
And you killed 3 with 1 shot? Wow, that's impressive.
I think somebody had a double, that's all I'm gonna say.
Everything I've heard about you is true.
You've definitely been listening to the wrong people.
Mark. Ah! Ah! A little pointer that could.
So after a couple close calls with some big groups, we finally got a little 4 or 5 pack in. We got 3 hunters, we need 9 specs, so we got 6 more to go, right?
That's it.
Let's get after it.
3's a pretty good number too.
3's a great number. 3's a great number.
Yeah, but let's keep going.
Yeah.
Oh shit, right here, right here. Stay still, stay still. Y'all kill him. Fetch!
Where'd they come from, G?
Don't know, but it worked out for us.
It's shaping up to be a doozy.
That was a doozy.
That was a doozy right there.
Look at that little tail. She's just as proud.
That's not how I taught you to do it.
The patented ass retrieve.
Out. Livy, heel. Mark. Back.
It's cool to be here with Garrett. He's obviously running the hunt. He's doing the calling the shots. He's got his dog, Livy, that he trained himself. And when he was 11, he's 19 now. This is the same blind he shot his first specklebelly out of.
Nice.
And so we've come a long way from little guy standing on a box right here, shooting out of it, you know? That was really exciting. It's just as exciting now to watch him running the show.
Shoot him.
All right, so we finished up with 8 birds, just 1 short of our limit, but it's 9 o'clock and we don't want to shoot out the place. So we're gonna head back to the camp, cook some breakfast, then get on the road, head to Gibson.
The what was?
The trailer came off.
We shot 6 boxes of shells, 47 voodoo, we rigged the boat, and Ducky put the trailer in the canal. He comes in, swings right around, y'all load him up. I said, where's the trailer? He goes, huh. I said, did you pull a trailer back there? He said, I sure did. Right when we got to the boat, the trailer's in the canal.
So how'd you wreck the boat?
And Mitch wrecked the boat. Mitch wrecked the boat.
This burner rips, dude. So we've been trying to make this boudin for a couple days, and finally, after this great spec hunt, we're ready to do it. We'll put some biscuits in the oven. I'm gonna get this boudin made. First, I need to make rice. One of the key ingredients, if not the only key ingredient in any boudin, should be rice. Boudin is one of my all-time favorite foods, and I've been blessed to be able to make many versions of boudin with wild game. This is my first time making specklebelly boudin, but it's all good because no matter the meat, boudin almost always shares these 3 ingredients: a main protein, liver, and rice. Our rice is back up to a boil already. You want to turn it down as low as possible. Put a piece of foil, then a lid, and that's really the trick with steaming a perfectly good pot of rice. All right, now we had these goose legs simmering for a few hours the other night at the other camp. I'm just gonna take these out of the pot. They're ready to go. While we were at the Klondike camp, I was able to get some of our goose legs cooked in broth along with the gizzards and hearts in preparation to make specklebelly boudin. They haven't been cooking since then, but we let them cook to where they would fall off the bone and brought them to this camp so we can finish out this boudin. So I'm just gonna take them out.
And once I have my legs out of this liquid, I want to strain it. So I still want to save that braising liquid to fold into my boudin. You saw all those onions and celery and garlic that was in there, and they're basically soft and demolished at this point, so you're gonna need a nice fine mesh strainer. Once I strain that stock, I'm good to discard this, because what I really want is all that juice, but as for this pulp, it can go right into the garbage. So I have the gizzards and the hearts. You can see they're super tender, fully cooked and soft. I'm gonna keep running my knife through till it gets to that coarse chop. Same as the gizzards and hearts, I've got all my pulled goose leg meat. I'm just gonna take my knife and just run it through.
Once I pick the meat from my geese and strain the broth, heat up a skillet until it's hot and use butter or oil to sear your goose liver. Be careful not to overcook your livers. Keeping them mid-rare to medium will help give the boudin its classic consistency.
And you can see, that's how I want them seared. See that? Nice and brown on one side, rosy and rare on the other. But all that butter that's been searing up that liver, that's good stuff.
Remove your livers and in the same pan, add onions, bell pepper, green onions, garlic, and cook until the vegetables are soft. In a large mixing bowl, combine your warm rice, picked goose meat, chopped offals, and your sauteed vegetables. Slowly add your warm stock and mix until well combined and you're able to form a wet patty from the mixture.
Obviously, that's really dry right now. Remember, I got that delicious stock, and what I want to do is start introducing that moisture and really give that a mix. Start breaking up those rice kernels and breaking up all that liver and other meat. Now it's starting to look like boudin.
Once you're happy with your boudin in the mixing bowl, you could either go the traditional route and stuff into hog casings, or do what I'm doing and make it into patties to skillet fry for breakfast.
And that is your boudin biscuit with a fried egg and bacon, onion jam. There you go, partner. You want some of that? There you go. It's hot there, buddy. Man. It doesn't matter what kind of game you're making boudin with. This technique works for everyone that I've ever tried. So next hog, next deer, next speckled belly goose, next poodoo, go ahead and try to make boudin this way, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
That's it for us from the Royal Jug and Gun Club here in Southwest Louisiana. One thing is for certain, this duck camp crew will be carrying on the traditions of the outdoors for generations to come. It's the last weekend at the camp for me, so it's time to get back to Bayou Black, toast the season, and get on a late January teal shoot. On the next episode of Duck Camp Dinners, I pass down a family recipe. We foraged for mushrooms, and we nearly burned down the camp.
I got any marshmallows?
Shoot straight and come hungry.